Have any of you faced any banking bias during your career?
Any what?
Yeah.
Banking bias.
When I went to acquire Black and Forth, the strip mall, I was working with the bank. And at that time, the banker, it was the vice president, was a Black woman, and she had been a customer. So she really wanted to do the deal with me. And so we had got pretty far along in the deal. And this is commercial. So I'd already made my, my earnest money deposit. And so, if I don't close by a certain date, then I lose it. $100,000, I lose it. I couldn't lose it. So we're working quickly to get this deal closed. And we get to a point where she's like, for our bank to be able to take this on, because I've never acquired any property before, I didn't have any credit cards or anything. She's like, the SBA would have to back this. And so we get on a Zoom with them, and we were talking. And at this point, I have 7-figure revenue, like my business does well. And so I'm thinking this is easy to get a $1.3 million property. Like, I know I can afford it. And the guy gets on the Zoom and he's like, I just, I don't really know how I feel about this spice shop. It just feels like a very niche thing. It just seems like it'll be really, really risky for all of us. I just can't imagine that people are going to keep wanting to come and buy spices. I've been around 5 years, revenue increasing every year. Nothing that says that this is about to decline anytime soon. And he's like, yeah, it just feels too risky, and we're not going to be able to do it. And I remember turning my camera off on the Zoom, and the banker, she's texting me, and she's like, I got you. Don't worry about it. Like, we're going to figure this out. But she couldn't. They would not back it. They didn't do it. It fell through. And at the last minute, I ended up having to reach out to some people that I know who were also customers who owned a CDFI, a community development financial institution, which is, smaller. They tend to be a bit more welcoming. Their underwriting is a bit more relaxed and most times more relationship based. And then in about a week, they were able to get me approved and through and cleared to close.
Our relationships.
Relationships.
Relationship,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say not banking bias, but every other bias you can imagine. But specifically when it comes to money, I remember trying to close on my first home, and in a well-known town in New Jersey, and where sellers are often like, nah, like protective over who they let in. And so we were looking for a home for 6 months. Like, it's like nobody wanted to give us our home until we met one family, and I was pregnant at the time, and we wound up bidding against ourselves, which we had no choice. We kind of had to. But then at the end, he's like, I told my wife you were pregnant, and that's why we had to give it to you. So that was like the only thing that kind of got us in. But in that town, there's not a lot of diversity, and it's kind of like an unsaid thing of just people saying yes and no to the certain type of people. And so that's something that, really kind of affected me in a financial way. But banking bias, no, I'm like, either you're going to give it to me or you're not. And if you don't, I'm going to find a way to flip what I have, which is what I've always done, and turn it into more.
Yep, and that's the same thing we do. We keep reinvesting. Mariah and I were having a conversation a while back where we talked about just the fact that it's something that I always call, it's democratic capitalism. It's either you can do it or you can't. You can make this business work with or without the funding, with or without the loan, with or without the thing that we have to have are the customers. We have to have that energy that between us that keeps us going, and even just feeding from our community. But it's you have to have enough grit in you to keep pushing through and to keep turning those corners, and to know that that's your inspiration. Our family is definitely our inspiration. Our community is our inspiration. But there's some things that I think, and by what I mean by democratic capitalism is that there are certain things that we have to do. We have to make sure that we keep our books correctly. We have to make sure that we pay our taxes. We have to make sure that we're running a legit business, so that when it's time, everything's in place. It's not you trying to now get it in place to get whatever's supposed to come to you, and not necessarily thinking that it's supposed to come to you. Just keep doing you. And I have experienced the bias. I have seen it. We don't get the money. We went through a whole program with a company in Atlanta, and doing all of the lessons, all of the books. We went through like 6 months of everything that we needed to do. And by the time, when it was time to get the money, they said, oh, all the money's gone. All of the grants are gone, the loans, the type of money you need is no longer there. And they knew that it was leaving. They knew that this long process that they were taking us through, at the end, there was going to be no more money. But what we did get was everything in place to be ready. And we learned a lot about how to use the systems to keep our books in place. So
Yeah, I think the unfortunate part is that your stories are very common.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate, but I'm glad that we're having transparency here because it talks about the hardship of entrepreneurship. It is difficult, right? It's not easy. People see things online and they feel like, oh, I can do that. And they get into it and it's like, wait, this wasn't meant for me. I wonder in those times, right? Because we get to ask this question a lot. You know, how have you rebounded from your failures? And we kind of never looked at these things as failures. But in these times of, I guess, like doubt, what is the thing that keeps you going? Is it faith? Is it family? Is it community? How do you respond to these times of extreme challenge? Because you haven't given up, so you're still here. So what is it?
when we believe we're living our dream. So when you have a dream, it's like you don't just abandon your dream. And if this is one of them, then you do what you do. You keep going. You have that tenacity. You have what was built inside of you when you came up with that goal or that dream and say, oh, this really is what I want to do. If you say, I want to earn a degree in whatever, and then you abandon it halfway through, it's because you decided that's not what you want to do. When you go into it, and when you go into a marriage, anything, you work through it. Marriages have trouble. This is a marriage. And so a business is a child. You cannot abandon your child. And so you think of it that way. You think of, what is it that I can bring to it? How far can I dig inside of myself to keep going if this is important to me?